Iburu, Iboya, Ibuche, everybody in Cyberland. It's your favorite Bao coming at you with a twofer. This is my second video today on a sequel of the Help Me, Help You. So, this one, just like the other one, has to do with a child. And I already kind of explained in the last video that when we do children, it's very delicate because you're raising a child to meet the sign. It's not like us older folks who already kind of developed some habits. And sometimes we got to break out of those habits. When it comes to a child, we got to be very careful because in the first stages of their lives, we're working on their ori. They're learning, they're gathering until they hit the second phase of their life. And that's stability. And that's where they're gonna gain work, and they're gonna, start dating, and they're gonna start getting into a relationship of some sort. But at that time, they already finished school, they already got a profession. But anyway, long story short, very delicate matter. So this one in particularly is gonna be one that's called Oyekun Tesa, Oyekun Otura. For just simplistic reasons, I'm gonna call it Oyekun Otura. Oyekun Otura is it's a sign that says at the end of the day we need to be very careful with our transformations. And the transformations, they transcend spirituality, and even to the point where their physical selves begin to manifest. Okay, what does that mean? That means that in this sign in Oyekun Tura, we have a child that's going to be very curious, a child that's going to have to be raised properly, a child that because of transformation and the transfiguration of things in this sign, this child can also be homosexual to a certain extent. Okay, maybe one that likes to experiment, one that is not necessarily nervous about doing certain things because of the transformation and the transfiguration of the sign. They're willing to push the envelope. They're willing to do things even if it means it's wrong in order to maybe gain $1. That's the mentality that Oyekun Tura brings to the table. It brings a very stern, a very direct type of personality. This person in Oyekun Tura, if the parents are not careful in this sign, the person's mouth is gonna get them into trouble a lot. Oyekun Tura are gonna be outspoken. They're gonna speak their mind, and depending on how they're raised and depending on what type of person they are, they're gonna. It is what it is. All right, these are the ones that are going to get into arguments. They're the ones that you can't really talk to, especially once they have their mind set on something. The most important thing for them is, especially for this one, because it is a male, is start looking to getting this person crossed over into Ocha, from Ocha, boom, to Ifa. Because Oyekun Otura needs to be spiritual. Needs to be reinforced spiritual. And if they wanted to put their mind to this, they can be great and they can do great things. Because in this sign, this is where I will even say if the person did not want to stay within this faith, right? And within this practice, then maybe they need to find spirituality. Doesn't matter what spirituality, but they need to find God. They need to understand that they need to wake up in the morning and they need the first thing they need to do is say thank you, and they need to praise God. How they do that is going to be up to them. But if they stood in this faith, in this practice, they're going to be phenomenal. They're going to be great with this sign, okay? Because of the transformation and their abilities to kind of move around. They're going to be really good, but they're also very ambitious. And ambitious people can do great things if they're motivated and pointed in the right direction. Oyekun Otura, especially for a child, man, mom, dad, you got a huge undertaking All right, but it's gonna be worth it at the end. It's gonna be worth it at the end. In this sign, you want to make sure that this person is not, or this child, better yet, understands the difference between right or wrong. But when I say that, I want them to understand who Ishu is. Okay, no different than the last sign I did. They need to understand who Ishu is, because Ishu is gonna be the one that's gonna open and close that door. Okay, so understanding to give thanks to God, and understanding who Ishu is, especially because they have their Mano Elu and they have their warriors, they have their little Ishu Elewa, right? It's very important for them to understand how to move forward with that. Okay, and constantly attending. If they don't attend, mom and dad, you're still mom and dad. You still got to do your piece. Try your best to kind of walk them down that path, and just do your best. Just do your best. All right, they're gonna turn out fine. Everything's gonna be great, but Oturas are gonna be very difficult, very hard-headed, very outspoken. All right, they're gonna flip-flop and they're gonna be around, but for the most part, they're gonna be great kids. They're gonna be great kids. Just take care of them. Ultimately, for Oyekun Otura, I like for the parents to take that child and maybe every year, every 6 months, do a head cleansing, do a rogación. Okay, because in Oyekun Otura, it talks about the loss of a child. All right, and when we're dealing with children, we got to be very delicate that we're walking them down the right path. So that means that we got to do rogations to kind of refresh your ori, get their guardians up and up. Do those things. Do those things, okay? Later on, when the child gets older, all right, and they're still following this faith, then there's a divinity called Oshun that needs to be received. Oyekun Otura should receive Oshun. No different than they should receive Olokun. Very, very beautiful divinities to receive, and they all have their place. But for the most part, beautiful sign. And I wanted to make sure that I give just a little bit, okay, just a little bit, in order for the parents to understand, in order for the child to understand. And then I like to always leave something, all right, at the end of the day for this sign. And the thing that I want to give you is an awesome, it's an easy ebo to do with Oyekun Otura. And it's an ebo that you do with a red handkerchief. You take the red handkerchief, and you're gonna have the child put it on. The child's gonna put it on and stuff like that, right? And it's a real weird one, but what you're trying to do is, this is a cleansing. Okay, this is a cleansing. You take the red handkerchief, they put the red handkerchief on, they clean their foreheads with it and their heads with it, and they put it in their pocket. You go around an area where you know there's gonna be homeless people or whoever, and you wait for them to ask for something. Okay, and inside that handkerchief, what I want you to do is have money prepared in there. Put $3.21 in there, and inside that handkerchief, right? So now the homeless person say, "Hey, you got a change? You got $1?" You give them the handkerchief and say, "Hey, there's money inside there for you," and you give them the whole thing. That's an ebo for Oyekun Otura to cleanse that person and open up the doors for blessings, for love, prosperity in this sign. So I like to always leave something with each sign, but especially for this one is that one. Now, here's the business with the guardian, particularly for this one, is Oshun. Oshun balances this one out. You know why? Because remember I told you earlier, the person's going to be hard-headed and the person's mouth is going to get them in trouble. Oshun is going to sweeten the deal. Okay? Oshun has many paths, many avatars. Oshun can sweeten the deal. However, Oshun has different avatars that if not properly balanced out, Oshun can make the situation a little bit worse. Okay? But particularly when children of Oshun are present, we understand that they're fierce. We understand that they're strong. We understand that they're the youngest of the pack, but we understand that they bring something to the table. All right, why is that important? Because inside Oyekun Tesa or Oyekun Otura, we talk about Olokun. when we talk about receiving Olokun being a water divinity and Oshun being a water divinity, they're going to complement each other. And this sign speaks Olorun and Olokun. Olokun complements the sign, and being a water divinity, Oshun being a water divinity, they complement each other. So what's going to end up happening is Oshun ties very well with this sign, and Oshun is going to help communicate with the other divinities how to keep this sign or this awofaka moving in the right direction. So Oshun, when Oshun asks for things, and you do consultations, and you kind of figure out what is Oshun looking for, she's already tying in to the people who speak to that destiny, this sign, the awofaka, to make sure that there's success and blessings in this person's life. So the Oshun being part of this is going to complement it because it's going to calm it down, but it's also already tied in to make sure it brings success. So very beautiful to hear Omo Oshun. So with that, I think I said a lot there. Again, give me a like, give me a share. All right. Regla.de.ifa@gmail.com if you guys want to shoot me an email. As always, it's my pleasure. I love doing this stuff. And you guys have a great night. Iburu, Iboya, Ibucheche, Cyberland.